Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is lesson six. I'm super excited you are here with me. We've been practicing your fear thoughts in the previous lesson. So if you need to repeat or if you want to go back and re-listen to lesson, take your time. Please proceed or please watch at the speed that feels good to your nervous system. Don't try to rush through the lessons. So as you know, as you've been practicing and noticing your fear thoughts, you might be discovering something interesting. Your mind is incredibly creative when it comes to finding new things to worry about. And believe me, my mind is so creative when it comes to that. So some thoughts are about our pain. What if we never get better? Hmm, am I doing permanent damage? What if the doctors miss something serious? And other thoughts could be completely unrelated. Did I say something wrong to my friend? Am I failing as a mom? What if my husband thinks I'm lazy? Or even overthinking in terms of like which, newest gadget to pick up and spending a lot of times worried about whether I'm picking the right thing or not. So what may surprise you is all these fears are serving the same purpose. So if you remember from previous lesson, I talk about that 1 week that nearly broke me when my daughter was sick, my husband was on a hunting trip, and work was super overwhelming. And you know, my house was a disaster, and the pain was flaring. That was my broke. That was the week that really broke me. I was laying in down, and the fear started rolling one of those days in that week. And it really got to the point where I started getting the thoughts, what if the pain will get worse and I can't take care of her? What if my boss thinks I'm unreliable? Did I remember to pay the electric bill? What if I'm a terrible mother? What are we gonna eat tomorrow? Is that a mole on my skin, a form of cancer? How quickly can I have it tested? So like that all these thoughts started spiraling. So one fear thought after another, it was like my brain started playing the world's worst anxious game of guacamole. And at first, I thought I was losing my mind, literally. But then I realized that my brain, was just trying to protect me. So I want to give you this analogy of zebra in your mind. If you think about the zebra in the wild, when it senses danger, it doesn't just watch for lions, it becomes super alert to everything. Every sound, every movement, every shadow could be a threat. Our brain works the same way. When it thinks we are in danger, whether from pain, stress, or life overwhelmed, it goes into like a hyper alert mode and starts scanning for all the possible threats. It doesn't differentiate. Any possibility of a threat is a real threat. So this is why sometimes you can lie awake at 2 in the morning and worry about, your paint flare, you weird the weird look a neighbor gave you, whether you have enough for retirement, if your child is falling in school, or you start questioning if your house front doors are locked. So your brain is doing exactly that, what it's designed to do, but it's treating like normal life stresses, like you are surrounded by predators. It amplifies those normal life stresses. And many of us have developed this hypervigilant pattern very early in life. So maybe you grew up in a home where emotions were safe to express. You had to be perfect to avoid conflicts. There was unpredictability and chaos. Or maybe you had to learn to anticipate everyone else's need and you felt responsible for keeping the peace. Perhaps it started a little bit later during a difficult relationship through work stress and burnout, after becoming a mom and feeling overwhelmed, or doing a healthcare scare or family crisis. So specific trigger doesn't necessarily matter as much as understanding that your brain learn that being constantly alert in that alert state would keep you safe. So the thing about the fear thoughts is they feel incredibly important and specific to us, but they actually just like a vehicle to keep you in a state of alertness. So your brain has become this master storyteller, spinning elaborate narratives designed to keep you worried. So very often, and I can speak from, personal, um, for my own experience, as well as many of my clients, but let me speak from my experience, is these what if stories. What if my pain never improves and becomes a burden? What if I cannot be the mom my kids deserve? What if people think I'm complaining? Then we have also the I should stories. I should be able to handle this better. I should push through and stop being weak. I should be grateful and stop focusing on pain. Or the analysis story. Maybe this pain means something more serious. I need to figure it out exactly what's wrong. If I cannot find the right treatment, all these stories feel different, but they accomplish the same thing. They keep you in a state of fear and hypervigilance. So I don't know if you remember the movie Matrix when Neo finally sets the code behind everything. The scary agents and bullets were just programming, no real threats. Your fear thoughts are similar. They feel real and urgent, but they're often just your brain's programming running in the background, designed to keep you alert to danger that isn't actually there. So when you start seeing this pattern, what happens is that those thoughts, they lose the grip on you. So instead of getting pulled into the story, what if my pain never gets better? You can step back and think, oh, there's my brain trying to keep me in the fear mode again. So your practice for this lesson is to start recognizing the different types of fear stories your mind created. So pay attention to the fear themes. Do you tend toward catastrophizing about the future? Do you analyze and reanalyze these symptoms? Do you worry about being a burden or disappointment? Do you fear losing control and independence? And notice when your brain goes into scanning mode. Multiple unrelated worries popping up at once, jumping from one concern to another. That restless, anxious feeling where you can't settle, feeling like you need to solve or figure out everything. And I'd like you to practice gentle observation. When you catch yourself in a fear story, simply think, my mind is trying to protect me by keeping me alert. I can acknowledge this without getting pulled into the story. And the key takeaways are for you to remember are all fears thoughts are save the same purpose. It to keep you in that state of protective alertness. Your brain scans for threats when it thinks you're in danger, just like that zebra watching for lions. Fear stories feel important, but they're often just brain programming designed to really maintain that state of hypervigilance. You can learn to see through the stories without getting pulled into the drama of each one. And this pattern is likely developed as protection. Your brain learned to keep you safe. So remember that your brain fear stories aren't evidence sometimes that something is wrong with you. They're the evidence of how much your brain loves you and wants to protect you. The goal isn't to stop having these thoughts, but to stop being controlled by them. You are not your thoughts. You are aware, wise woman who can observe these thoughts with compassion and just choose how to respond. And some days you'll see through those fear stories easily, and other days you'll get completely caught up in them. And both are normal parts of learning this new way of relating to your mind. I'm so looking forward to tomorrow lessons about pressure and self-criticism. And further on, as we go through the lessons, we'll get into somatic tracking and some nervous regulation too. So I'm looking forward to hearing to all your comments. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know any thoughts you have post the session and see you in the next day.